Okay, welcome guys to the weekend video. It's Friday night here in a snowy Ireland. The country has been blanketed in snow, which is what we are. We are not used to this, and we're completely and totally unprepared. The country's fallen apart. But hey, we'll get through it. It's been an interesting week, a few glitches, but I think overall we are set up quite well for a period of severe volatility in a few markets. And I'm going to run through that right now. And again, as usual, I'll start with euro dollar. So this is the 4-hour chart again. I'm counting this recent high here at the high at 125.55 as the completion of wave 5 green. So the completion of wave 5 green completes 5 of C of B. So a very large degree corrective rally. Closing out right now in euro dollar. The decline so far, it's been encouraging, it's been encouraging, and it's definitely yesterday this takeout of the previous fourth wave low here did kind of rule out the previous short-term bullish count that I was working with, but for now we're gone. I'm switched fully bearish and looking for the completion of an Elliott wave signal off that high there. Okay, so let's go down to the hourly chart just to see how that pans out. Okay, so we were looking for a rally back into that kind of support band, or sorry, that resistance band there at the previous fourth wave in pink. We got that today. We got a nice bounce. I was initially thinking that this was a three-wave rally complete, but I think we can discern 5 waves there. So we can see 1, 2. Gosh, I should really work on that, shouldn't I? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into the high of the day there. So that really deserves some work. But you get what I'm speaking about. That I can make a 5 waves high or there, and I think that's wave A of 2 rather than a complete wave 2. Now it depends on how B fares out. I reckon on Monday we'll see a decline in wave B. I would like to see a kind of a sharp decline, almost maybe into support, maybe to create a flat correction wave 2. But the fact that traced out such a nice 5-wave pattern, it does suggest that we have a possibility of either a zigzag wave 2 or a shift back to the alternate count here, which would count this whole pattern for the last month and a bit, maybe 5 weeks or so. This sideways pattern here as the whole correction in wave 4. We'll see how that works out. I reckon if we see a clear 3-wave pattern off the recent low, then we are pretty assured that we have a 5 waves down, 3 waves up in an Elliott wave signal to the downside. I'm looking at 123.56, and obviously the 61.8% retracement at 124.02. So between 123.56 and 124, we're looking a nice tight kind of band of Fibonacci, important Fibonacci levels to watch early next week. On Monday, I do expect to see at least a relative, at least if not a steep decline, at least a 3-wave decline, possibly below, but definitely below the lower trend line here. So I am looking for, like I said, a sharper decline, which would kind of suit the way this whole structure would look. It would look better if we had a sharper decline and then a rally in wave C. But obviously, we're early days in this corrective phase here in wave 2. This will probably take between Monday and Tuesday to sort out, all going well, and if everything goes our way. So again, early next week, a decline in wave B, and then a rally back into that same resistance band there, initial target 123.55 again. So for euro dollar, we're looking at the possibility of an Elliott wave signal, bearish Elliott wave signal off the high, and that should occur next week. Eyes on that one. Okay, so let's go to the pound dollar 4 hour. So we have a possible complete corrective pattern in wave 4. I'll show you that there, wave 4 here. It's pretty possible. I'm mincing my words here, but it is possible to count this in two ways, and both of them are valid in my mind. We could have wave A down complete at that low, and then we could be looking at a long drawn out contracting triangle, which would be A, B, C, D, and E, and that would complete a contracting triangle there, and then wave C to match wave A, and we are probably, if that's the pattern, then we're probably already complete. The pattern that I'm actually going with, so just to run through that again, sorry, wave A down, contracting triangle, wave B, which would be wave B pink, and then wave C, the decline which we've had, probably complete if that's the pattern. But my preferred pattern is this double combination pattern with the combination wave A, 3 wave B, and then probably a flat correction wave C, 3 waves, and then 5 waves down in wave C. This little pop today does not look like, suggests that we still are completing this final C of C, so which would be wave C gray here, and we would expect 5 clear waves if that was the case. So what I'm looking at is wave 1, 2, wave 3, a possible wave 4 in this corrective rise today, and then we should see a decline below support here, possibly into this lower support of 136.12 here. So we're looking at about 136.20. I'll give let's get an actual price on that. Oh, sorry, about 136.50 to complete that that 5 waves pattern, if this internal wave 1 here was to match this internal wave 5. Let's get rid of that scribble again. I'm afraid I never was much good at at sketching freehand. Okay, so if that's the case, if we're getting a 5-wave pattern with an extension here in wave 3, well then this corrective rise here does fit well with that pattern, and then we should see a decline below, at least below support, and most likely below the previous, let's say, was that Thursday's low? It was, I think. The low of 137.50 or 137.11. So for Monday, I would expect at least a decline below 137.11 to complete a clear 5 ways. Probably below 137, a dip below 137 would do it. And then at that point, we'll look for signs of a bottom and an initial higher low, probably in wave 5. In wave 5 brown here. So for next week, we're looking at possibly a bottoming 4th wave in cable, and a reversal higher into resistance again at about 143 for cable to complete. Again, just like Eurodollar, a very large degree correction in a fourth wave here in wave 4 blue. And actually, let's get to the daily chart there. It's a three-wave correction higher. You got wave A, contraction triangle, wave B, and then wave C. It's been an extended wave C, and I think we are just about done on this one. Okay, so let's get rid of cable and get onto dollar yen. And dollar yen has been causing me trouble for the last few weeks, but I think in general on the 4-hour chart we're looking at a bottoming market. This says nothing but corrective action to the downside, and I think this is ending. We have on the daily chart we have a three-wave pattern completing a wave 2 at a high degree wave 2 here, and then I'm expecting a turnaround for the dollar in general, a rally in which will show up in dollar yen as a rally in a third wave in orange here. So the 4-hour chart shows this. Go back to the daily chart here. We're going to look at this wave C here in the 4-hour chart. So there's wave B high, and here's this wave C. I'm tracing 5 waves down in wave C. So wave 1, 2. You could either count this high here, or sorry, this low here as wave 3, or this low here as wave 3. But for purposes of continuity, let's say, I'm going to count this high, or sorry, this low here as wave 3. So wave 3 down, corrective rise in wave 4, which failed below the previous wave 1, and now we're looking at 5 waves down in wave 5. So an extension lower in wave 5. So let's get rid of that and go to the hourly chart, and we'll look at wave 5. So here's wave 4 high here, and we've got wave 1 down, wave 2, an extended wave 3, and now to contend with the decline today, I think the best way of looking at this sideways correction here is a triangle. So A, B, C, D, and E contracting triangle, which completed at today's high, which is exactly why the confusion, or the why the price kind of it tricked me. The goddamn price tricked me. I did not spot this contracting triangle. I was pretty sure there was a correction going on, and I was counting on it, this previous low here at 105.55 as being the low of wave 5 and C. So I was counting this as an impulse wave with a 3-wave correction underway. That spill lower below support there at 105.55. That obviously ruled that out this evening, and it was a late one, right in towards the close here. Right towards the middle of the day there. So it forced me to rethink this, and I think the best way to look at that contracting range there is just a simple contraction triangle, and we're calling that wave 4 of a 5-wave decline. And wave 5 should, well, actually, if we're being technical about it, because the previous wave 3 was breached, the low of the previous wave 3 at 105.55 was breached this afternoon. So technically, this market has, the price has completed a 5-wave pattern, and a valid 5-wave pattern at that low. Obviously, for next week, we're going to see if we get a continuation lower into the lower trend line here, and next support at around 104.30. So again, it's kind of time to be vigilant and time to watch for a turn in dollar yen, because the pattern is closing out at quite a high degree in favor of the dollar. So this corrective decline will turn in favor of the dollar, and I don't want to be, I for one don't want to miss this one, because I think dollar yen, I think, will be an explosive rally. Okay, so for early next week, we're going to watch for a decline into wave 5 and a turnaround again. It'll be just a kind of observation week, I think, next week in dollar yen. Look for a bullish signal to the upside again and see if we can get any entry points on that one. So stocks here, we had a corrective rally, I think, today in the Dow. To me, it looks like a possible small three-wave rally here up into this kind of support resistance area we've got at the previous wave B, so 24,615. If this is a three-wave rally and we do top out slightly above that resistance line, maybe in the 24,680, 90 region, for price again to reach the declining trend line. It looks to me like that would be a three-wave rise in wave 4, pink, and then we would see a decline again in wave 5, pink. So then we're counting 5 waves down, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and within wave 3, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 waves in wave 3. An extension lower in wave 3. So again, this is preliminary. That's the idea that I'm working with. So that would suggest a further decline on Monday before we get the rally into wave 2. Three-wave rally in wave 2 should carry to about, depending on the low, I think, depending on the low of wave 5 here, I think, sorry, the low of wave 1, wave 2 should carry, I think, into about 25,000 again. And we'd be looking at a complete Elliott wave signal, a bearish signal, and if you bear with me for a second, we have left shoulder, left neckline, head, right neckline, right shoulder, and then a decline. So we have a lower degree head and shoulders pattern forming off the wave 2 high there. So that again is something to watch for. And I think if this short-term count is correct, which I think it is, then next week should leave us with a pretty interesting possible entry point to the downside. And if wave 3 of 3 actually comes our way next week, well, then we're looking at a pretty significant decline. Like I said in tonight's update, I'm thinking the 20,000 area is very likely in wave 3 down. And let's get a look at the 4-hour chart to see what that would look like. Again, on the 4-hour chart, we have this left shoulder, the neckline, left shoulder, neckline, head, right shoulder, and then the neckline, and then a complete head and shoulders. Granted, it's not exactly symmetrical, but a pretty convincing head and shoulders pattern at a high degree, and then one lower degree, which I just went over there a minute ago. So for wave 3 down, the next significant support is this previous 4th wave here at 21,706. So I think we should spill lower than that. You can see how quickly markets or the stocks decline rather than rally. And if this is a 3rd wave, well, then this decline should be equally as impulsive to the downside. So for next week, we're watching for a failure, a 3-wave rally, and a failure below 25,000, or a failure at 25,000 to give us a good entry point to the downside again. So let's move on to gold. So we had a nice pop we were looking for a decline below 1307. We got that decline, and we had a nice pop off that trend line support there, 2 degrees. So we had this short-term trend line, price almost met that, and the longer-term trend line there, or the larger trend, sorry, the larger trend channel. So that's pretty encouraging, given the fact that I'm looking for a corrective decline to complete in the 1307 area. So we had a nice $20 rally off that off today's low. I think that the low of the day hits 1302, if I'm not mistaken, about 1303. So the high of the day was about 1324. So you're talking about $20. We could have either a complete wave one at the high of the day, and now we're working on wave two, which is probably more likely given the fact that we have a lower high forming there. So we could be looking at a very small degree, a minor degree wave two completing. If we get this corrective decline completing above 1307 and then a further rally above 1325, which kind of would form a turnaround, a reversal and a break of previous high, and we could be looking at a continuing 5-wave pattern up in wave one, and again we'd be looking for 3 waves down in wave two. So this area, this 1322 area, is looking pretty interesting for a reversal higher, given again the fact that I'm looking for wave two to complete, this wave two green here to complete, and we're looking for a bullish Elliott wave signal off that low for wave three. So next week we're going to be looking for this 5 waves higher with a 3-wave decline, and that will offer a pretty interesting opportunity to those of you who are willing to or wishing to go long on gold. All right, so I think it's pretty clear what we're expecting in gold next week. Let's move on to crude oil. And excuse my voice, the second I start talking to the camera, I drop 3 octaves. Okay, so the action in gold today looks pretty corrective. It looks like a sideways flat correction, maybe an expanded flat correction, because this wave B low broke below the previous wave 5 low. So we could be looking at a 3-wave expanded flat correction in wave 2. I had $62 there as a 50% retracement level, and I think we will probably hit that on Monday, probably Monday evening. And at that point, we'll have, again, much like stocks, we'll have wave 1, 2 complete, and then wave 1 and 2 complete. So a series of 1-2s to the downside, which sets up a pretty interesting bearish pattern. Let's see if I can get out to the 4-hour chart now. So what we're looking for is an Elliott wave signal off the wave 2 high here for a possible decline in wave 3. And again, significant support comes in there at the previous wave 2 or wave B. So you're looking at between $45 and $49 there. So we're looking at a good, a solid decline in a 3rd wave back down into the mid-40s. And if this is the case, well then it's a pretty interesting opportunity, don't you think? So if we go back to the short-term chart, I'll go out to the hourly chart there. Well, that didn't like that. Sorry, I'll stay with the 30-minute chart. Okay, so if we have 5 waves down complete at wave 1, and we're drawing towards a 3-wave pattern complete in wave 2, well then $62 is looking an interesting level right now. So for early next week, we'd want to see a failure at about $62 again, with a spike lower and a break of previous low there at 60. If we got a lower high below $62, then that would perk my interest for a speculative short trade. So a high at 62, a lower high below that, possibly in the region of, this is all speculation. Obviously, we'll have to see a failure at 62 first, again with a spike lower, lower high, and then a break below the previous low, and that would set up. It would be an ideal, let's say, an idealized beginning for a large decline in wave three gray. Sorry. Wave 3 gray of wave 3 brown, so a third of a third decline. My brain is beginning to shut down right now, so I'll stop talking before I say something stupid. Okay, so next week is looking interesting. As always, I'll see you back here on Monday evening, and have a great weekend and Godspeed.